The rain was falling heavily one evening in a girls-only school called Prestige School for Girls. And there was a girl named Teniola. She was beaten to the ground in the rain by a bunch of bullies who ran away after knocking her out. Still in the rain, after she was beaten by the bullies, another student saw her and alerted the school authorities. The bullies were interrogated by the police, but they were not at all regretful for their actions. In fact, they bluntly denied having anything to do with the incident. 2 weeks earlier, Teniola got on the bus on her way to school and sat with her only best friend, Jumoke. Behind them were two of the most popular girls of the school, named Fadeke and Tomike. Fadeke is the leader and is feared by everyone. Her father was a powerful man who had authority over the principal of the school, and because of his influence, Fadeke never got into trouble. While in the bus, Fadeke called Teniola a nerd and made fun of the shape of her body. Teniola quietly chose to ignore her and continued chatting to Jumoke, her friend. Fadeke, who had a secret boyfriend who her parents do not approve of, was planning to go and see him instead of going to school, and in order to distract everyone, she spilled tea on Jumoke before secretly getting off the school bus. Teniola saw her running away but doesn't think much of it. Jumoke tried to wash the stain off her shirt when she got to school, but nothing worked. It was not the first time that she was bullied. In fact, Fadeke, Tomike, and their third friend, Fatima, were known for always creating trouble. Fadeke, who was on a mission to visit her boyfriend, found a public restroom somewhere in town and changed into revealing clothes. This would be the first time she would meet her boyfriend physically, because for the past 3 months, they had only been talking on Facebook. Fadeke went to the restaurant they agreed to meet and was so happy when her boyfriend finally came in. As they started talking, Fadeke grew nervous that someone might see them together in public and recognize her. Back in school, Mr. Ogidon, the school's head teacher, introduced a new student named Funke to the class. Funke had a unique sense of style and attitude that was new to the girls. After school, when the bus was meant to drop the girls at home, Fadeke snuck back in without anyone noticing. She told Tomike everything about her dates. Unknown to them, Jumoke started eavesdropping and overheard their conversation. She found out Fadeke was about to sneak out again on Tuesday. Later that evening, Teniola and her family were having dinner. Her father is a fun-loving man, while her mother is more on the stricter side. Both of them love Teniola and her younger brother dearly. The following day during their extracurriculum activities class, the girls were playing basketball. Teniola and Fadeke were on the same team, but Fadeke refused to pass the ball to her. When urged to release the ball by the coordinating teacher, Fadeke hit Teniola with the ball. The teacher scolded her, but she didn't stop making fun of the poor girl. And even though Fadeke was so disrespectful to everyone in the group, she was still allowed in the game with no consequences whatsoever. When the girls later went to the changing room, Fadeke noticed Teniola was staring at her, and so she decided to bump into Teniola and still accused her of grabbing her inappropriately. Funke, who witnessed the whole encounter, knew that Fadeke was at fault but didn't speak up. Eventually, Fadeke manipulated everyone into thinking Teniola grabbed her inappropriately. They called her a freak and made her cry at something that wasn't even her fault. After the incident, Teniola was eager to take revenge, and the opportunity for revenge presented itself when Jumoke informed her of Fadeke's plan to sneak out once again. Teniola immediately went to inform the school principal about Fadeke's plan to sneak out of the school. Fadeke was summoned to the principal's office and called out for skipping school. If anyone else had done the same, they would have been immediately expelled. But since this was Fadeke, the principal let her off with only a warning. Even Mr. Ogidon, the head teacher, was surprised at the fact that she didn't get into any trouble. The principal's only explanation was that she doesn't want to anger Fadeke's father. The bullies knew that someone from their boss must have ratted Fadeke out to the principal, so they decided to threaten the school janitor into finding out who it was or lose his job. Fadeke, the mean bully, and her two wicked friends, Tomike and Fatima, were ready to teach the person that reported Fadeke a big lesson. They were boiling with anger, and by the end of the day, they discovered it was Teniola. Enraged by her audacity, they called her to the back of the school in the rain and beat her up mercilessly. Poor Teniola could do nothing but cry for help. Eventually, Fadeke shoved her head towards the concrete and knocked her out. Then the girls ran away before anyone catches them. Some minutes later, Funke found Teniola lying unconscious and informed the school authorities. Few hours later, the police were invited and the bullies were being interrogated by the police. They smugly claimed that they had nothing to do with the incident and even went as far as to make fun of Teniola for getting hurt. Meanwhile, Funke was in tears because she witnessed the girls beating up Teniola but was too scared to stop them. Now seeing them making fun of the whole situation, Funke confronted Tomike, one of the mean girls, but Tomike threatened to use Fadeke's father's influence to get her out of the school if she dares to tell anyone about seeing them. So, when the officer asked Funke if she knew who the culprit was, she kept quiet. A few days later, when Teniola woke up, an assembly was held in the school to find out who the bullies were. Teniola was asked to tell the truth, but she was so scared that she could hardly form a sentence. At the end, she claimed her memory was blurry, so she doesn't remember who it was. The school principal was relieved that Fadeke didn't get into trouble, and the policemen gave the students a chance to confess if they knew something. Surprisingly, Fadeke took the opportunity to disclose that she did in fact push Teniola, but it was in self-defense because Teniola touched her inappropriately. The girls supported her statement and no one believed Teniola when she said otherwise. Funke felt bad for her but wasn't brave enough to speak up. The school officials believed Teniola was a pervert and suspended her for 2 weeks for touching Fadeke inappropriately, while Fadeke yet again got off with a simple warning. Even Teniola's own mother believed Fadeke's lies and thought her daughter was indeed a freak. Teniola's world shattered into pieces as she felt the lowest she had ever been, but the sadness eventually turned into frustration and anger. Life got even tougher for her when her friend, Jumoke, stopped replying to her texts and stopped communicating with her completely. 2 weeks later, Fadeke and her group walked into the school with so much pride. They were not in the least scared that Teniola would expose the truth because even if she does, no one would believe her. In the school hall, the students were informed about the national football team recruitment, where only 2 girls could be selected. Fatima, one of the mean girls, wanted to be included, but Tomike and Fadeke disregarded her completely, claiming that no one could compete with them. This eventually caused a rift in their relationship. Later that week, Teniola arrived at the school and met Jumoke. Teniola confronted her friend for not standing by her during her suspension and wanted to know the reason for that. Jumoke told Teniola that since she was not in the shower room that day, she believes Fadeke's story. Teniola was so heartbroken by her friend's indifference. When she finally summoned courage to walk into the classroom, the bullies made fun of her again. Teniola rushed to the bathroom and executed her first plan to destroy Fadeke and her group. She broke the fire alarm, causing everyone in the school to run outside. When no one was in the classroom, she stole Fadeke's phone. Teniola looked through Fadeke's phone and found an audio recording of the mean girls insulting Mr. Ogidon in the announcement room. Teniola then proceeded to the school's broadcasting room and played the tape before the school speaker for audibility. The entire school heard the audio tape and the mean girls' voices talking badly about their head teacher, Mr. Ogidon. After this incident, the girls were taken to Mr. Ogidon's office. They tried to play the victim, but Mr. Ogidon did not listen. He punished them by assigning them to janitor's duty for an entire day and banned them from taking part in all the sports activities. This meant they would not get to try out for the national football team. The girls reluctantly agreed to do as told. They wore the janitor uniforms and cleaned the school ground, while the other girls laughed at them. Teniola was seated on a bench, proud that her plan worked perfectly. Few minutes later, she was approached by Funke, who claimed to know who was behind the prank. Teniola froze and instantly denied being involved, but it doesn't convince Funke. Funke promised Teniola that she would not tell anyone and warned her to be very careful. Funke and Teniola started talking, and Funke revealed to Teniola why she was kicked out of her last school was for hacking into the school's database and stealing midterm questions. So, she warned Teniola not to allow such happen to her. Later that day, the girls were called to the auditorium to attend an anti-bullying program. When the presenter asked someone to volunteer as a victim of bullying, Mr. Ogidon urged Fadeke to go forward, much to her annoyance. Then, the presenter needed someone else to play the bully for the act. While most of the girls were afraid, scared to bully Fadeke, even as an act, Funke raised her hand and surprised everyone. She does very well in the enactment and insults Fadeke. Fadeke, on the other hand, tried to intimidate her, but could do nothing in front of the teachers. By the end of the act, everyone was calling Fadeke stinky. She was embarrassed and most of all furious at Funke for messing with her. After the program, Fadeke asked the principal to let them join the football tryouts as a favor. They were given the permission against Mr. Ogidon's wish. During the extracurriculum class, Funke told Teniola that she was supposed to graduate last year before she was kicked out of school, and this caused her mother a lot of trouble. And so, she didn't want to get involved in another scandal. That was why she couldn't expose the fact that she saw Fadeke and her friends beating Teniola the other day. Teniola understood her situation and forgave her. The next day, during the football team tryouts, the bullies also took part in the game, except Fatima, who doesn't want to compete with her friends. Eventually, Teniola had to go one-on-one against Fadeke. She kicked the ball, but it hit Fadeke on the head. Enraged, Fadeke tried to hit her back, but was stopped by the coordinating teacher. After the practice, Tomike revealed that she found Funke watching them while they were beating up Teniola. She hadn't told her friends because she didn't think Funke would rat out Fadeke. The girls now suspect Funke to be behind the voice note prank. After school, they attacked Funke's little sister and grabbed her inhaler. When Funke tried to stop them, they threatened her to stay away from them for her own good. Funke now had enough of the bullies. She couldn't risk her sister being hurt, so she decided to help Teniola in whatever she was planning. That night, she ran to Teniola's house and offered to help. Although skeptical at first, Teniola revealed the plan that she had to take proper revenge on the bullies and the corrupt principal. They decided to strike Fatima first because she was the most vulnerable of them all. The next day at school, Teniola walked into the cafeteria and saw her friend Jumoke with the group of bullies. They were making her compete with a girl to see who could eat more. The girls made fun of them, but Jumoke naively thought they were laughing with her and not at her. After the competition, Teniola told Jumoke that she was being made fun of, but she refused to listen to her. She argued that it was fun and goes back to her new friends. Later that evening, the school was organizing a charity festival event where the boys from other schools are also allowed to come. As soon as school was over, all the girls ran to the bathroom to get ready. It was packed with several of them doing their hair and makeup, while Teniola was stalling, getting ready for the plan. She also got a text from Yomi. Yomi was her friend and neighbor. He was texting her to let her know he will also be at the festival. Lately, Teniola had been so preoccupied with the bullies that she hardly talked to him. Meanwhile, Fadeke and Tomike were excited because both of their boyfriends would be at the festival. Fadeke took a picture of herself with her bra strap showing to send to her boyfriend. Fatima, who was more reserved and conservative than the other two, was shocked. She warned them that the guy might send it to someone else, but they laughed at her and jokingly called her a prude. Fatima knew that they were not joking and that they actually thought of her as not fit to roll with them. In a bid to prove she is not so reserved, she shared with them that she had also been talking to a guy on Facebook for a week, but he hardly had any pictures of himself on his profile. Fadeke and Tomike felt that that was sketchy, but Fatima seemed to be smitten with the guy. Few minutes later, Jumoke came out of the bathroom door, looking so beautiful in her outfit. The girls were overly nice to her. Fatima offered to help her remove a stain from her white jeans, but instead she applied red nail polish on it and took a picture. Few minutes later, they posted it online and made a fool out of Jumoke. Everyone laughed at her and she ran away crying. She sat in a classroom looking sad and alone when Teniola approached her. Jumoke apologized for being rude and the friends reconciled. Teniola decided to share a revenge plan to sabotage Fadeke and her group with Jumoke in order to make her smile. But when Funke found out that Teniola shared their plan with Jumoke, she got angry because if the news got to the school authorities, she would immediately be expelled and no other school would take her. She strongly felt Jumoke couldn't be trusted, and this caused a fight between Teniola and Funke. Funke withdrew her support and involvement in their revenge plan and walked away. Teniola was confused on what to do because the next part of the plan was entirely based on Funke and her hacking skills. A few hours later, the festival started and many people gathered at the school. Teniola and Jumoke were in a classroom when Funke surprisingly approached them and agreed to help them again. She still wasn't comfortable with Jumoke but was willing to give her a chance. The girls finally revealed to Jumoke that the secret guy one of the mean girls, Fatima, had been talking to for weeks was Teniola. They were planning to use the non-existent guy to get Fatima in trouble. Since Fadeke and Tomike were preoccupied with their boyfriends, Fatima would be alone for most of the night, so they felt it was the best time to strike her. All the students were having fun at the event and dancing when Teniola was approached by Yomi, a friend and neighbor. He tried to talk to her, but she was too occupied with the plan and wasn't paying attention to all Yomi was saying. Eventually, Yomi called her out for being an awful friend and broke up their friendship. This didn't bother Teniola too much because she instantly went back to analyzing the bullies. Fadeke, Tomike and their boyfriends were in a private area far from the crowd, and Fatima began to feel out of place because the couples talked to each other and she had nothing to do. Teniola texted her as the fake guy and kept her entertained, but when the couples got hungry, they asked Fatima to bring them drinks and food because she was free. She reluctantly agreed and went back to the festival. As Fatima was carrying the drinks down to her friends, Jumoke spilled them on her to keep her distracted for a while longer. Meanwhile, Funke informed Mr. Ogidon that Fadeke and Tomike were flirting with some boys. Immediately Fadeke and Tomike saw Mr. Ogidon approaching them. They fled the scene where they were hanging out. Everything was working according to Teniola's revenge plan. And when Fatima returned with the drinks for her friends, she realized they had ditched her. She tried to call them, but no one picked up the phone. Frustrated, she left the drinks on the bench and went to look for them. Eventually, she found them in the cafeteria, but the girls were not apologetic at all. They laughed it off and claimed that they were distracted. Angry Fatima left them to spend the night on her own. Jumoke snuck into the cafeteria and took a picture of the couples in the cafeteria. Fatima was now on her own and only had her secret boyfriend to talk to. Taking advantage of her vulnerability, Teniola sent her a picture of a random guy and asked for Fatima's picture without her hijab. Unknown to Fatima, the picture Teniola, the fake guy, sent her contained a link that would give Teniola access to Fatima's social media. Thinking it was a photo of her secret boyfriend, Fatima clicked on it and fell right into their trap. Fatima proceeded to the bathroom and took a picture without her hijab as her boyfriend had asked. She sent the picture to Teniola. With the picture and access to her social media accounts, the revenge group could finally execute the last step of the plan. Teniola, Funke and Jumoke rejoiced, and 2 minutes later, the picture was uploaded to Facebook from Fatima's page. Everyone at the school festival started to look at her and whisper. When Fatima finally opened her phone, she froze in shock. Several people had seen and made comments under her posts, leaving comments that she wasn't looking modest because she wasn't wearing a hijab in the posted picture. Fatima had a panic attack in front of the crowd. Her friends came by her side to help her. The following day, Fatima's mother spoke to the principal and permanently withdrew her daughter from the school. Because Fatima came from a very religious home, wearing hijab was very important. Fatima's mother called her a broken vase that no one would want to marry. The next day, Mr. Ogidon informed her classmates that Fatima would no longer be returning to the school. Fadeke and Tomike were not pleased with this news and were furious at the boyfriend who tricked their poor friend into taking the picture. They texted him on Facebook saying that they will make him pay for what he did. Teniola saw the text and laughed out loud. Jumoke, on the other hand, didn't feel good about what they did. She felt that although the bullies used to pull stupid pranks on them, but in turn, they had completely ruined Fatima's life. Teniola doesn't feel a hint of regret and was ready to go for the second target. Funke was somewhere in the middle. She knew what they did was too much, but also felt like Fatima deserved it. Later that day, Funke got a notification saying that Tomike's boyfriend, Tomiwa, had followed her on Instagram. She remembered that he complimented her at the school festival event, but she didn't think much of it and followed him back. When Tomike got a hint of this, she slammed Funke into the wall, threatening her to stay away from her boyfriend. This time, Funke doesn't back down and refused to unfollow him. An enraged Tomike threw Funke's phone to the ground and shattered it. During their extracurriculum activities period, the coordinator announced the national football team results they all eagerly waited for. Fadeke and Tomike were sure that they would be selected, but their coordinator announced Teniola's name instead of Fadeke. According to the sports coordinator, an individual should have a good attitude alongside being a good sportsman to be selected. But since Fadeke didn't show good sportsmanship, Teniola was selected in her place. Fadeke, who felt entitled to everything she wanted, was furious to hear she didn't make the team. After the incident, when Teniola was alone in the shower room, Fadeke spied on her, and when Teniola proceeded to take a shower, Fadeke snooped through her bag and found her journal. Fortunately for Teniola, she didn't write about her revenge plans in the notebook, but she had written about how she was struggling with her mental health. So, to get back at her for taking her spot, Fadeke tore the pages of the notebook and spread them around the school. Everyone started calling Teniola crazy, and urged her to go to a mental hospital. When Teniola saw her most personal thoughts being passed around, she felt broken. She ran to the school bathroom and broke down crying. Fadeke and a group of friends found her in the bathroom and mockingly threw her pages at her. Teniola couldn't get herself to go to the class. She stayed in the bathroom for the next period and was later approached by Jumoke. Jumoke tried to cheer her up, but Teniola already had enough of the bullying. She doesn't even want to take revenge anymore and was ready to transfer to another school immediately if it meant the girls leaving her alone. Funke joined them and tried to convince her otherwise, but it didn't work. Funke felt Teniola transferring to another school would mean the bullies won. But to Teniola, they had already won. For few days, Teniola shut out everyone, including her friends. In reality, Teniola had spiraled into depression, and her only way out was to take revenge. Meanwhile, Fatima had not been picking up her phone or replying to Fadeke and Tomi's texts, and they were beginning to get worried. So they decided to go to her house to check up on her. Though they were nervous about talking to Fatima's mother, they knocked on the door and waited for a reply. Fatima's mother refused to let them in and ordered them to stop calling her daughter. The girls left reluctantly while Fatima watched them from her room. Her mother called her a disgrace to the family and compared her to her sisters, who are way more beautiful and modest. Fatima had no one but herself to rely on. Teniola's revenge plan had completely ruined Fatima's life, and her mother vowed she would not be allowed to go to any more schools. Funke and Jumoke met at Jumoke's house to discuss how to help Teniola out of her bad mood. As Teniola was about to tell her mother about her plan to change schools, she stopped when she got a text from Jumoke calling her over. Teniola rushed to her house, thinking that Jumoke must be in trouble, but found out otherwise. Jumoke had overheard the bullies planning to sneak out during their school trip. They would surely be sneaking out for the purpose of meeting up with their boyfriends, which meant the girls had the opportunity to catch them red-handed. Jumoke also showed them a picture she took of Fadeke, Tomike, and their boyfriends on the night of the festival. They sent the picture to Fadeke through a fake Facebook profile in hopes of making her nervous, and as soon as the bullies clicked on the picture, Funke hacked their social accounts and gained access to them. Using the information they found in their DMs, they planned when and where to attack the girls. The following morning, everyone woke up fresh, excited about the school trip. While Fadeke was in the bathroom preparing herself at home, her brother, Babajide, asked her to come outside. He is a short-tempered, egocentric man who liked to control every decision in his sister's life. He and Fadeke's family were strictly against her having a relationship with a man before marriage. Fadeke's brother especially was strict with her, and on this particular morning, he warned her to be of good behavior during the trip. Her best friend Tomike also had problems of her own. Her father is an angry alcoholic who beats her up when triggered, and despite signing the consent form the previous day, as Tomike was about to leave for the trip, he ordered her to stay home. Her mother came to her aid and pleaded for her to go. Babajide dropped the girls off at the bus stop, but before they separated, Fadeke noticed a gun in his car, and she asked him what it was for, but he dismissed her immediately. The entire school left for the trip, accompanied by Mr. Ogidon and their sports coordinator. Teniola constantly kept an eye on Fadeke and her social media accounts to see who she was texting. When they reached the resorts, the girls were assigned a room to be shared by 3 people by Mr. Ogidon with the help of Teniola. They had expected Funke, Jumoke, and Teniola would be in the same room, but to their surprise, Funke ended up with the bullies. Teniola revealed that she deliberately assigned Funke the enemy's room because she wanted her to keep an eye on them. Funke, on the other hand, was not happy about the decision because she wasn't told about it before. Because of this, Teniola and Funke got into an heated argument. Teniola was disappointed because she believed that the girls were willing to do anything for their plan, but Funke tells her otherwise. Later on, Funke dreadfully entered the room and met the evil duo, Fadeke and Tomike. They got into an altercation immediately and decided to mind each other's business for the rest of the trip. After settling in, all the girls hung out by the pool and had a lot of fun. Fadeke decided to go to the spa for some alone time and found out Funke was also there. All of a sudden, an old pervert approached Funke and touched her inappropriately. She tried to push him away, but he didn't back down. Fadeke saw them struggling and immediately rushed to her rescue. She even made sure Funke was all right and called Mr. Ogidon to take care of the situation. Funke started to realize that Fadeke wasn't as bad as she thought she was. Hours later, Fadeke and Tomike returned to their room. Tomike tried to insult Funke as usual, but this time, Fadeke stopped her. Fadeke had been so good to Funke that Funke no longer felt good about the revenge plan. The following day, during breakfast, Funke told her friends that she doesn't want to go through with the plan anymore. Teniola was left speechless and blamed the bullies for brainwashing her. Funke then argued that she is not a child and that she knows that what the girls did to Teniola was wrong, but if they do the same, they won't be any better. Funke said she would actually talk to Fadeke and Tomike about their behavior and solve it the right way. Teniola laughed at the thought and kicked Funke out of their friend group, promising to cover the plan on her own. As soon as it was dark, Fadeke and Tomike happily got ready for the club. Shockingly, Fadeke asked Funke to join them. Initially, she was skeptical, but then agreed to go with them. Tomike couldn't shake off the shock, but Fadeke told her about what happened in the spa. She also added that if Funke comes with them to the club, she won't be able to report them to Mr. Ogidon. Mr. Ogidon did the nightly check to see if everyone was in their rooms. Fadeke and the group were dressed to go to the club, but they pretended to sleep and wore eye masks so they would not get caught. After Mr. Ogidon left, they didn't waste any time before they headed to the club. And though they were underage, they managed to get inside because of Tomike's boyfriend's influence. Fadeke and Tomike danced with the guys, while Funke sat by herself. Back at the resort, Teniola contemplated going through with the plan against Funke's wish. Jumoke wanted her to talk to Funke first, but she was too eager to make her bullies pay. She added that they might not get a better opportunity after that night. So, Teniola went to inform Mr. Ogidon about the missing girls, unaware that Funke was also with them. Jumoke went to check up on Funke and found her missing. She realized that she joined the bullies, but it was too late to stop Mr. Ogidon now. At the club, Tomike's boyfriend, Tomiwa, tried getting closer to Funke when she called him out for cheating on his girlfriend. Tomiwa told her to stop being uptight, but Tomike saw them, and from Tomike's point of view, it looked like Funke was touching Tomiwa and not the other way round. She confronted Funke and pushed her away. Tomiwa saw that he was about to get caught and played the victim. An enraged Tomike ordered Funke to leave immediately. Funke felt humiliated and sad about something that wasn't even her fault. She ran to the bathroom to get away from the group. Meanwhile, back at the resort, Teniola and Jumoke called her several times, but the call went straight to voicemail. Mr. Ogidon and the sports coordinator left to look for the missing girls. Teniola still blamed Funke for being stupid enough to go to the club with the bullies. It surprised Jumoke because the old Teniola would have felt bad for putting Funke in such a situation, because if she got caught, she was definitely going to be expelled. But Teniola still didn't regret her decision. Mr. Ogidon and the sports coordinator got to the club and threatened the bouncer to let them in. Fadeke and Funke met in the washroom and were still arguing when Funke noticed the text from Jumoke and found out that Mr. Ogidon was looking for them. They immediately ran outside to alert Tomike, but Mr. Ogidon and the sports coordinator found her first. Tomiwa sensed that he might get into trouble for being with an underage girl. Tomike realized how much of a coward he was when he ran away as soon as she was caught. When Mr. Ogidon asked her about her missing friends, she covered up for both Fadeke and Funke and claimed that she came to the club alone. Back at the resort, Fadeke and Funke lied that they were busy looking for Tomike and that was why they were not in their room earlier. In the end, only Tomike got in trouble. On the first day back to school, after the trip, Tomike arrived with a big bruise to her eye. It was evident that her father hit her for what she did. But thankfully, the school let her off with only a warning. Jumoke and Funke felt bad for her, but not Teniola. In fact, Teniola was proud of what she did and was ready for a final attack on Fadeke. She hadn't talked to Jumoke or Funke since the trip and had no one to stop her from what she was about to do. That day in the washroom, Fadeke helped her friend Tomike apply makeup to cover the bruise. Although Fadeke didn't get in trouble for what they did together, Tomike didn't hate her friend for it. She knew that if Babajide, Fadeke's brother, found out about his sister partying, he would have done more than just hit her. The next Tuesday, Fadeke planned to cut classes to meet her boyfriend again. She had done it numerous times before and was confident that everything would go well. However, after everything that has been happening to their group lately, Tomike was skeptical. She wanted Fadeke to be extra careful this time. As they were discussing this, Teniola was in the bathroom eavesdropping on their conversation. During their lunch break, Funke thanked Tomike for saving her at the club. Tomike also said sorry for lashing out at her when it was Tomiwa's fault. They sat together for lunch, much to Teniola's annoyance. That night, Teniola looked for Fadeke's boyfriend's information on the internet to use it against her. At Fadeke's home, her brother, Babajide, barged into her room while she was talking to her boyfriend on the phone. She quickly ended the call, which made Babajide suspicious. He checked her phone, but fortunately for Fadeke, she stored her boyfriend's name under Tomike's name. Fadeke complained to her father that she doesn't get any privacy at home, but even Fadeke's father supported his son's rights to Fadeke's personal life. The following morning, Fadeke ran away from the bus and went for a drive with her boyfriend. Back at the school, an award ceremony was about to take place where the principal was to be presented an award for her excellent work. Mr. Ogidon noticed Fadeke was absent and suspected she ran away from the bus again. But when he told the principal about it, he was dismissed as usual. The principal doesn't want to create drama before being honored by the Board of Education. Meanwhile, Fadeke and her boyfriend arrived at his house. They had gone to his house so they could enjoy their time without having to worry about anyone seeing them. But before going in, Fadeke told him that they were just going to hang out and not do anything else. Her boyfriend, who wanted her to feel comfortable, told her that they could go somewhere else if she wanted to, but Fadeke happily agreed to stay with him at the house for the day. At the school, the principal is busy with the award ceremony. Mr. Ogidon was annoyed at the fact that she treated him like a pawn and let Fadeke get away with everything. To teach the principal a lesson, Mr. Ogidon broke into her office and called Fadeke's father to inform him of her absence. She also told him that this was not the first time Fadeke had run away from school. The entire family immediately came to the school to look for their daughter and spoke to the principal. Meanwhile, Tomike was going through the pictures on her phone when she came across the picture of Fadeke, herself, and their boyfriends on the night of the school festival. On zooming into the picture, she saw Jumoke's reflection at the back. She suspected that Jumoke and her group were the ones who posted the picture of Fatima without her hijab. Tomike stopped Jumoke and Funke on their way to the award function and asked them why they did all that. Funke quickly apologized, which confirmed Tomike's suspicion. Funke claimed that they had no time to talk about the past. Jumoke and Funke told Tomike that Teniola is surely planning something to get Fadeke in trouble. Tomike was scared because she knows how strict a person Fadeke's brother, Babajide, was. Fadeke was busy having the time of her life with her boyfriend, and for the first time, they were not paranoid about someone noticing them. Back at the school, Funke told Tomike everything they had done and apologized to her. Tomike was ready to forget about the past if it meant they could save Fadeke right now. They ran to stop Teniola but saw that Fadeke's father and brother were already in the school. Fadeke's father and brother met with Mr. Ogidon and asked him to explain everything he knew. Mr. Ogidon took the opportunity to tell Fadeke's brother and father how the principal wasn't caring enough for the students' safety and had encouraged Fadeke's bad behavior. When Babajide found out about his sister's boyfriend, he was beyond furious. The thought of his sister with the man was enough to make him go on a rampage. Teniola, on the other hand, was in the school bathroom typing in Fadeke's boyfriend's house location on her phone and was about to send it to Babajide, Fadeke's brother, to make sure Fadeke was caught. But before she could press the send button, Tomike, Jumoke, and Funke stopped her and begged her to rethink her decision. Tomike even apologized and agreed to never trouble anyone again if Teniola would let this one go. But Teniola's mind was made up. She didn't listen to any of them and proceeded to send the location to Babajide. The damage was done and no one could stop Babajide now. As soon as he received the text, he made his way to the location. Fadeke was still with her boyfriend. They were watching a movie. He had just told her that he loves her so much, and this was the first time he was saying so. Everything was going so well, or so had Fadeke thought, until suddenly someone banged the door. Fadeke instantly recognized her brother's voice and panicked. She knew that no one could save her from Babajide's temper. Outside, Babajide found Fadeke's clothes left out to dry. He assumed that she had slept with her boyfriend and instantly turned red in anger. At the school, Fadeke's father faced the principal and threw her award to the ground. He promised to destroy her and the entire school before storming off. Everyone around the scene was terrified because the man had the power to do exactly what he said he would. After he left, the principal looked at Mr. Ogidon in disappointment and asked him if he was happy to see her lose. Teniola smirked, grinning ear to ear, proud that her plan worked perfectly. Babajide, while trying to get into the house to get his sister, eventually broke down the door and attacked Fadeke's boyfriend. Fadeke and her boyfriend could do nothing but beg him to stop. Babajide stopped for a second and reached into his pocket to get his gun. He pointed it at Fadeke's boyfriend. Fadeke kept crying and begging for her boyfriend's life, but her brother didn't listen. At school, Teniola proudly walked down the hallways. She saw Tomike crying, but doesn't stop to check up on her. Whatever might be the consequence of Teniola's actions, it was clear that Teniola doesn't regret it. Say no to bullying. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.